Sounds good.
All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Take Charge, where it is our mission for our viewers to take charge of their future by taking charge of their now. I'm so excited. I am so excited. And you hear me say that every week, and I truly mean it because every episode, there's power, there's a story, there is growth and learning behind every episode. And this is exactly the same thing. I'm just so excited to be here in this presence with this young man right here doing some great things. And before we get into today's episode, which is about turning your idea into destiny, I definitely want to just say one thing. Have you had an idea that you've just felt, you thought it was a great idea, but for some reason you never followed through? I read an article where it says the average human being comes up with about 4 or 5 ideas a year that if they just follow through on one of them, it would create financial independency. You know, and I thought about this episode, and, you know, sometimes in cartoons, they have an idea, and what happens is a light bulb in front of it.
Right.
You know, that is just so powerful because what is a light bulb? It's energy. Your ideas have energy. And if you are just willing to just take those steps to follow that idea, it can change and blossom into something that you couldn't even imagine. That's what this episode is about. And I'm so glad to have this brother right here because he's doing exactly that. This is Mr. Denal Wilmer. Could you just say hey to...
Good evening, everyone. This is, my name is Denal Wilmer. I'm an educator in Baltimore County Public Schools. I've been teaching for about 8 years now. And I'm also the founder of the Boys in the Good Youth Leadership Program.
And that's exactly what we're going to get into tonight. So actually, Denal and I, we actually go way back.
Sure
We
do.
go back in my teaching days, and we actually met through a Saturday Math Academy.
Right.
And, you know, sometimes you just know people have a knack for reaching people and helping people, whether it's through staff or kids. And he actually just has a natural way with the youth. And again, that's what we're going to kind of drive into. So let's just get right into it. Turning your idea into destiny. So first of all, Mr. Wilmer.
Yes, sir.
What was the idea? What was it? How did it even start to formulate in your mind?
Now, I'm sure you know as an educator, you know, every year we have class pictures.
Right.
And a lot of teachers, a lot of students get excited for picture day. And it was one year, actually about 3 or 4 years ago, I asked my 5th grade class to come to school, well, the boys in particular, asked them to come to school wearing a tie.
Okay.
And I was standing in front of the class, and one by one, all the boys raised their hand, just saying, I don't have a tie, Mr. Wilmer, or I don't know how to tie a tie. So at that moment, I knew something had to be done.
Right.
Something had to be done. So because I was thinking in my head, there's no way that a young boy should not know how to tie a tie or even own a tie. So that summer, I kind of brainstormed a way that my incoming class could actually obtain ties and for me to teach them. And initially, I wanted to get ties for about 12 boys in my class that upcoming year. But I got so many fundraising ideas and like a lot of different donations from family and friends and supporters, and I was able to provide so many more boys with ties.
Wow.
So that's exactly how this whole initiative kind of started.
And you know what? This is a great point. And before we continue, I want to make sure you truly understand what's going on here because what my hope for you is I want to highlight his idea. I want him to share his process and his story, but I want to relate it to you. I want you to be able to get out of this taking your idea. So let's just make sure we're staying focused here. He saw a need. Right? The idea came. Now, he didn't act on it. Matter of fact, you used a very good choice of words. He brainstormed. So it took time to develop, but he thought about it. What is brainstorming but intense thought? Let's go back to that light bulb up in the head. That thought created more and more energy. So to the point where he only expected to get 12 ties, the energy from the brainstorm that he created so much energy, he got way more than he expected. I mean, I just want you to understand this because even though he is doing it and he's doing great things, you have this same ability. If you have a brain, and I think we all have brains, so I know you've got this ability. So, all right, great. We're here. The next year, you've got these ties for the young men.
Right.
Now, at this point, has this idea shaped into what it is now, or was there still a process?
It has, because like I said, I got enough ties for the boys in my class, but not just the boys in my class, all the 5th grade boys.
Wow.
And once people started finding out about it, they wanted to donate more and more ties. So that year, I was able to get ties for every single boy in the school. That was about 300 boys.
Wow. From
So,
12 to 300.
Yeah. It really transformed into something that I didn't even plan for. So
Woo.
that's the great thing about it. And in addition to that, I had the ties for the boys and everything, taught them how to tie it. So at that point, I'm thinking, okay, now what? Now what? What do I do now? And one of my boys actually came to me with an idea and said, Mr. Wilmer, we should start dressing up every week. We should dress up every week. We should start looking presentable. And I thought that was a great idea.
Right.
Like, he brought that to me.
Right.
And at that point, we developed what we call GQ Tuesdays.
Okay.
So all the
Loving
boys,
it.
all the boys decided that, they wanted to come to school, dress up every Tuesday, dress professionally. And it was very successful. The boys, I remember driving to school and seeing the boys walking to school with their ties and everything, just looking nice and fresh and fly. And it brought a lot of joy to me to see that the boys actually wanted to, improve their appearance and come to school dressed in that manner.
Awesome,
So,
man.
yeah.
And again, great capture point here. So let's listen up. He had this idea.
Right.
He brainstormed. Then he acted. He got those 12 ties. It turned into 300. So now he's donating to more and more people. Now here's the magic, because once you start to develop your idea, and the more you get in tune with your idea, you start to realize this idea is bigger than you. See, when you get to a point where your idea becomes bigger than you're going to need more and more people. So now it didn't matter if it came from him. He was able to receive it from someone else, a young man. Hey, Mr. Wilmer, let's do GQ Tuesday. But had he not started that idea, he would have never planted that seed in that kid's head to actually ask the question. Do you understand this? So he just changed a young man's lives, actually many lives, just by developing that idea. It's huge. So okay, now from what I understand and what we've been talking about, it's called Boys in the Good, right? I love the spinoff, because I'm old school, so you got Boys in the Hood,
Right.
Boys in the Good.
It's
I
pretty
love
catchy. It gets a lot of people's attention.
Yes, I love it. I love it. So, but it's more about ties. It's more than about ties.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've got GQ Tuesdays. What happens next? Like, how does it develop into like Boys in the Good?
Exactly. So what I noticed is that I felt as though boys, they came to school dressed professionally, but I kind of took a different role in teaching. I felt like it was important for me to develop relationships with the kids.
Okay.
And while they look presentable on the outside, I felt a need to really inspire them and encourage them to be better on the inside. So
Go
because
ahead.
you can dress up all you want to, but if you don't have the proper attitude,
Absolutely.
it doesn't mean anything.
Correct.
So from that point on, I'm thinking, okay, I got to do something next. I wanted 12 ties. I got 300. I wanted just to provide ties for my 5th grade boys. I provided ties for the whole school. God needs to take me more. God has taken me more. He's given more to me, giving more ideas and everything that I need to accomplish. And I remember thinking to myself one morning, there's something else that I have to do. There's something else I have to do. These boys need more than just a presentable outward appearance. So I said, I already mentor some of these young men. Why don't I actually make kind of a group or a club where we could kind of use our initiative of dressing up to be respectful and to be great people on the inside. So at that point, I developed, Boys in the Good.
Wow. So a great stopping point again, because I mean, you got to understand this process, and I know we've talked about this in several episodes, but this is a real life example of how the process can actually develop into something even bigger than you can imagine. So now he got to a point where, dare I say, I don't want to say stuck, but he's like, okay, what's next?
Right.
So that's the asking part, right? Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door shall be open. So what's next? And at that point, he gathered all of his resources, his experiences. He's a teacher, he's an educator. So you've seen after school clubs and you've seen all these programs. Well, why don't I do that for my boys? Why don't I do that? And where did you get the name Boys in the Good from? I'm curious.
I don't know. Actually, my sister actually helped me come up with the name.
Okay.
It's so funny. She's so creative. But I always said I want you to be good on the outside, but good on the inside. And she was like, well, that's like Boys in the Good or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I like that. So my sister actually came up with that idea.
Wow.
And it's so funny because when we were actually coming up with the name for it, I actually wanted it not to just be a title, but actually to mean something.
Right, okay.
So, and I kind of thought about all the aims and characteristics and ideas that I value in my life. Okay. And that's one, giving back to others, being optimistic, being original, and being determined and working hard. So GOOD stands for giving, optimism, originality, and determination. And those are the 4 aims that all of our boys work to aspire when they're in the program.
Okay, I'm really loving this now. So Boys in the Good, but the good stands for what now?
Giving, optimism, originality, and determination.
Okay, and what is amazing to me, all the true greats, all the people who really are in their purpose, right, regardless of where they started, they somehow develop these core values. Now, these values may differ from person to person, but they develop these core values, and those values really start to drive them into the right direction. It's almost like a compass, so that way you're not getting off track. Now, see, if you don't have a set of core values, it's easy to sway off course, right? There's a good saying for that. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Yep. So that goes over a lot of people's head. But if you don't have a set of core values, and what I love is you took your values, and dare I say, now please correct me if I'm wrong, at that point, did you have to actually think about, well, okay, well, hold on, what are my values? Like, what do I really want to embrace in that? Or was it something that you already knew you actually had?
It's something I already knew.
Okay.
It's something like all of my life experiences and everything that make me who I am and brought me to this point in my life, those are the values that have brought me there.
Got you.
So I felt as though, I've been blessed in my life. Why not be a blessing to others and instill in them what I've learned throughout my experiences. So.
And I love it. So taking those core values and helping others with it. And so I was a little bit opposite. I really had to think about my values, even though I come from a good background, educated, blessed, and I'm thankful for that. It got to a point where I didn't even really know what my values were. I didn't know where I was going. And with the Take Charge, it's like, you know what? I've been spinning my wheels so long. It's time for me to take charge of my direction. Right. It's time for me to take charge of certain aspects of my life. It's time for me to take charge of my values, my finances, my relationships. It's time to take charge of me. Exactly. And it's so funny that you say Boys in the Good on the inside, because I truly feel that that's where all the magic happens. You can't be great on the outside. Not for long. You can't sustain greatness on the outside if you are not truly great on the inside. I mean, it starts from the inner. Any flower, any seed, it has to start from inside the earth for it to come out, right? So it's just so amazing to me how so many people, even though we may be on different paths, we have those same that same part of the process, knowing your values. Exactly. So take us into your development program. What does that even look like? Because I know as a teacher, we've got curriculum, we've got testing, there's all these different aspects of the school day. How do you embed or enrich your Boys in the Good program?
Well, we actually continue with the whole GQ Tuesday initiative. Okay. So basically, that's like the foundation of Boys in the Good. So the boys actually, they know how to tie a tie. Okay. They teach younger kids how to tie a tie.
Okay. Teaching. Now giving back. Exactly. Love it.
They're giving back. Yep. So so we meet every Tuesday after school. I like to think of it as a youth leadership program because the boys actually, by the end of the program, learn what it takes to be a true leader. And so we instill those core values of giving, optimism, originality, and determination through different character building activities at our meetings. We do community service every month. We have bonding activities where we go out every month. We call that our Boys Day Out. Actually, last year we were able to partner with the Torrey Smith Foundation and go to a celebrity basketball game. And,
wow.
Yeah, the boys really enjoyed that.
Wow.
So basically, just kind of having that relationship with kids who not necessarily are troublesome, but like a diverse group of kids to kind of have a bond within themselves, build up leadership, and make a difference not only in themselves but in the lives of others too.
Absolutely.
So that's the main premise behind the program and what we tend to do every single week.
And I'm just sitting here smiling because, again, it's the process. So hold on, because I don't want to lose anybody. It started from an idea, okay? He brainstormed that idea. He acted on that idea. That idea became bigger than himself. He had to develop a sense of direction and values. Once he did that, it grew to an even greater capacity to now it becomes beyond him. See, when your purpose, and I say this all the time, your purpose, because there's a whole bunch of purposes out here. Oh, I'm living in my, no, your purpose, when you realize it, you realize that your purpose is not for you. It's not. It may start from you, but your purpose is to reach other people.
Exactly.
And I don't care what that purpose is, whether it's Boys in the Good, whether it's motivational speaking, whether it's a shoe shining, right? If that's your purpose, just can you imagine how many days or how many people you're going to make their days better just by, being passionate about what you do?
Absolutely.
If you're at a stay-at-home mom, if that's your purpose, do you realize the joy and the change that you're going to create in your kid's life because you're doing it because you want to? So your purpose needs to come beyond you, right? If you're a photographer, just imagine how many lives you're actually changing and how many professional, how many people you're affecting professionally, helping them grow, helping them create a portfolio. So I'm a big believer in that your purpose is not for you. It needs to come through you. And I love how you're teaching the boys that same thing. Whether they get it indirectly or directly. Hey, I'm learning this. I'm getting this knowledge. I'm getting this gift. I've got to give it back.
Absolutely. And honestly, that's basically what it is for me. I said, it started as an idea, and every step along the way, something came within me, some kind of instinct or some next step that God told me, okay, you need to take this further. And what I learned throughout the process is that God doesn't want us to stay stagnant. He always wants us to, he always wants to take us to the next level. And that's exactly what my journey has been. It started from an idea, but just having faith and trusting in God.
Uh-oh. Go ahead. Please finish. Please finish. Oh, man.
I just kind of developed and reached, to where Boys and Good is now. And honestly, at this point, I feel as though the sky is honestly the limit. Not necessarily for me, but for anyone who's, they have an idea, something that makes them happy and fulfilled, go with that.
Yes.
Go with that. That's your purpose in life. And you're never meant to stay where you are. You always want to go to that next step in life. And that's really what life is all about.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's just amazing how I might have lost for words. It's amazing how interconnected we all are. Now, I haven't talked to Denal in quite some time, but the growth that I've seen in him, the growth that I've gone through. Let me just tell you, he's absolutely right. We're not meant to stay stagnant. We're human beings. We're part of nature. Does nature stop growth? No, it's all about growth. Now, when we get to a point where we stop growing, even though physically we're dying, spiritually, mentally, we're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. And I don't mean that to insult anyone. I mean it to inspire you, because where is your growth? And you just said something that was so great. He wants you to grow. You've got to have faith. And I'm going to just focus on me or in my story, because I don't want to put it on anyone else. But I feel like that was probably, and still is, the greatest and most difficult part of my journey, was that faith, right? I think we all say, hey, we believe, but there's a difference between saying you believe and then believing,
exactly.
Right? And I think so many times we get manipulated, or we get thrown off path, or we have people that say you can't do this, or that's just insane, and we start to actually agree and accept those visions, and we don't even really understand how to have faith in ourselves.
Exactly.
And that is so real. Like, you can't go to the next level without having that faith. And you heard him say it. I've gone through that faith. Now I feel like the sky is the limit. Not just for me, but for anyone. And it's so real. I was having a conversation with a young lady earlier today, and we were talking about this, and I was joking, but it's so real. If you look at like the Matrix, right? Neo.
Right.
Now he was the one, but think about it. The whole episode, he doubted himself.
Okay.
Right? He doubted himself. He went to other people. He wanted someone else to tell him that he was the one so he could believe it. But it just couldn't happen. Now, at the very end of the movie, when he gets shot, something inside of him, he says, you know what? I am the one. I do believe.
Wow.
I am the one. Matter of fact, stop the bullets because
Right.
I'm just not. So once he realized it, he was the one. And we all have that ability. It's just we have to go and just think about this. Now, I know it's a movie, but I just love that whole first episode of The Matrix was the process. It was the process.
It's true.
Right? He was on a search for something in the beginning. He knew it was something, but he just couldn't quite put his finger on it, right? He gets introduced to Morpheus. Other people helping us on that journey, right? Other people helping us grow and develop. That whole movie was the process of your destiny, of your journey. Now, again, it's a movie, but the concept is the same. You have that same ability. Just listen to his story.
Right.
Listen to it. So, great. I want to ask you a question that you asked yourself. So now, what's next for Boys in the Good? What is next? Because just seeing you from on Twitter and talking with you on the phone and just seeing where things are going, I really think that you have the ability to go nationwide at the very least.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what is the next step for Boys in the Good?
Exactly that. Exactly that. I feel as though because the program has been so impactful in the young boys' lives, I don't think there's a reason why I shouldn't expand it and reach other kids outside of the community that I work and live in.
Right.
So the goal is to expand beyond the school that I work at.
Okay.
I actually had a few schools reach out to me seeking to have Boys in the Good implemented at their schools, and that's actually what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks. Actually meeting with some people to actually get Boys in the Good started at different schools. So it's so crazy to me because all of this was not planned. It's not planned.
That's how you know it's God, because
Exactly.
you can't plan it.
Exactly.
You can't. Like you all you can do is have that keyword,
Have
faith.
Have faith.
That's it.
That's all it comes down to.
Because and that's how I know that you're going through your process and you're walking too, because you've got to have the faith, and you can't conceptualize it. If you try to, you're stunning your growth,
Right.
because you don't know where it's going to come from. You just said you had schools reach out to you. That means you've created such an energy, such a focal point that now other people are starting to notice.
Right.
Hey, and that when people see people prospering or doing things that are great, or they see something very positive, they get attracted to that. They want to become a part of that.
Absolutely.
So it's just amazing, and I'm just so happy for you, man, because I really see, I really see that doing big things. I really see that doing big things.
I see it too. It was funny because one of my boys who actually went off to middle school last year, he called me the other week. I still keep in contact with him and kind of mentor him and everything. But he was telling me that he told one of his teachers about Boys in the Good. And he said to a few teachers, well, we need Boys in the Good here. So he called me with this whole big idea about, Mr. Wilmer, we need to get Boys in the Good here. I told him about it. I showed him the website and this and that, and all the boys are interested. So it's just so amazing how, it's not only been my passion, but now is the passion of the young boys that I was able to impact. So I feel as though all of these are just signs that I just need to keep going.
Yeah.
I need to keep going. And like I said, the sky is the limit. I would love to see Boys in the Good flourish beyond not just the community, but the state, nationwide. I know wherever I'm headed next, and wherever this can reach next, and whatever boys it can impact, it'll be on a much larger scale than it is now, because that's what has been so far. Everything has grown so far to this point. So
And I'm just thinking too, even with that young man in middle school, you're teaching those leadership skills. What an amazing role that he could even play in that development, just even being a leader. So now, teaching leaders to become leaders,
Right.
that's just great. And so you've got the schools reaching out to you. is there anything else actually going on, or what if we have some viewers that are actually, really interested in helping you with that journey, or reaching out maybe with the fundraising or volunteering or
Absolutely.
anything? How can they get in contact with you?
Well, I am looking for volunteers. We actually have a fundraiser right now where we're selling T-shirts to raise money for the different activities and things that we have planned. Boysinthegood.com is a website that I've been working on for quite some time, and it's very nice.
Yes, it is. I've seen it. It's very nice.
It's very nice. The boys actually helped me with it too. So I have, you can go to boysinthegood.com, click shop. I'm actually selling some T-shirts. I actually have a T-shirt here. This is one of the shirts that we're selling on the website.
All right now.
All right, so we have Boys and Good on the front.
Okay.
And then on the back, we have our pledge.
Wow.
And our pledge for Boys and Good is: the only things that will tie you to your success are the qualities of hard work, determination, optimism, and the undoubtable belief that your dreams can come true. So that's what our boys recite every time we meet for our weekly meetings, and they memorize it. I encourage them to live it each and every day. So this is the shirt that you can purchase online, boysandgood.com. You can press shop. They can ship right to you, and all the proceeds will benefit the program that I have going on.
Oh, man, awesome. And look, viewers, look, we're supporting you, and I'm asking you for your support. Help this young man fulfill his purpose. If you've seen something in him, and I know you have, because I can feel the energy here, and I'm sure you can feel the energy where you are. But give back. Just like he said, the whole point, when you're getting fed, you must give back, right?
Absolutely.
That's the whole part of the process,
Right.
because to be selfish is to be unnatural. It is to be ungodly. And again, not saying anything about my viewers, but just saying it's important to make sure you're giving back. It's important to make sure you are showing support. And if anyone deserves it, this young man does right here. And I'll just even go on the verge to say as well, if you need anyone to, let me rephrase that. I'd be more than willing to come out and talk to your boys. If you have any days or after school programs where you actually have other people come and speak, I'd love to talk more in depth about my principle with the Take Charge, the I Am. I think it's definitely needed in the youth, and I'd be more than happy to come and give back that way too.
I would love that. We tend to have guest speakers come in and
Oh,
encourage the
okay.
boys too. So
Okay.
if you could come one night, I would greatly appreciate that.
Look, count me in. I'm
Okay.
there, because again, it's about giving back.
Absolutely.
And I started in education, and that, even though I now work with more adults, that's something important to me, giving back to the youth, because that's the future.
Yes, absolutely.
That is definitely future. Man, well, look, I don't know about you. I'm inspired. Boys in the Good, boysinthegood.com. Make sure you go and visit, click shop, find out how you can volunteer. Again, let's help him. Let's show him that exact what he's talking about, what he believes in, really can come into fruition. Let's give him that support, because again, to get to the next level, we need help. We needed to come from outside, and he's already has people being attracted and trying to help. Let's make sure that we all chip in and really help elevate positivity. It's so funny to me how a negative comment or video on Facebook can get about 1,000 likes, but one positive picture probably gets 1 like.
Yes.
Let's change that.
Yes.
Let's change that, because people are doing things doing good things. And I'm gonna end off with this. I know there's a lot of bad things going on. I know. I looked at the news. I'm looking at the young brothers getting shot. I know. But at the same time, it's almost like that's what we look for, right? It's almost like we feed off of that. Let's change that energy. Let's start looking for positive. Let's start looking for things that are great, and watch how those negative things start to diminish. I promise you that this will start, but we've got to start again in ourselves.
Exactly.
Right?
You really have to be the change that you wish to see. Because at the end of the day, it's only so much that we can do.
Say it,
But
brother.
if you're living what you want to see happen, then your impact can go so much more than where you are right now. So you really got to make sure that you're living what you want. Be the change you wish to see. And I try to tell my boys that all the time, especially with everything going on in the world.
Wow. And it's just so amazing, man. The last time we actually saw each other, we were, we were at the Saturday Math Academy. We were teaching. He was teaching the youth, and he was a great educator. But to see him grow into a man on a mission, and I don't mean this in any derogatory sense, brother. I'm just so proud of you, man. I really am. I love where you're going and what you're becoming, and you're saying you're doing exactly what I want people to understand. If you want greater, you must become greater, and you must be willing to stretch yourself. You must be willing to have that faith. And again, this is a shining example of the possibilities you can have when you're willing to turn your idea into destiny. Now, before we leave, is there anything else you want to share with the audience, any upcoming events or anything like that?
Well, I tend to update the website regularly, so we have a lot of pictures and videos that we promote, and we actually do a community service every month. Our next community service will actually be raising money for breast cancer awareness.
Okay, wow.
Because next month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we're actually raising money for that. That's the information on the website as well.
Okay.
So you can reach out to me, boysinthegood@yahoo.com, if you're interested in volunteering. Visit the website, purchase a shirt, help us out and support us, and just encourage us and pray for us too, because I really see our boys reaching new heights, and I'm excited for their future as well.
And I'm glad you said that. Make sure we talk after the show, because I do know a couple of people who are actually really involved with breast cancer and movements, and maybe you guys can link up, and who knows what can happen from there. So definitely make sure we get together after the show. And look, I'm speechless, man. I'm just so happy that he's going on to his mission. Oh, yeah. How can they let them follow you on Twitter or something like that?
My Twitter is at Mr. Wilmer, R-E-S, Mr. Wilmer, R-E-S. Boysinthegood.com. My email, boysinthegood@yahoo.com. We actually have an Instagram page, at Boysinthegood. So I really try to highlight all the good that we're doing in the community.
Absolutely. And again, let's start seeking out that positivity. And look, as we come to a close, like we always say, take charge of your thoughts, take charge of your actions, and you can